Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Yevamos Ayin Gimel. We are on the third line from the top of the Amud. Bo minei Rav Sheshes, the following query was posed to Rav Sheshes. We already know that an Arel may not partake in Teruma. What about in Maaser Sheni? Can an Arel eat Maaser Sheni? Arel mahu b'Maaser. What's the question? Ki heichedi olef Pesach miMaaser. Perhaps, just as we learned Pesach from Maaser Sheni with respect to an Oinein, one whose close family member passes away, on that day of Aninas, on that day of intense mourning. The Pasuk says, Lo yachalti b'oini mimenu, I have not partaken in Maaser Sheni, and we learn Pesach from Maaser Sheni, just as you can't eat Maaser, you can't eat Pesach. How do we learn it? The Tosfos Yeshanim right off to the left gives us the Kal V'chomer. We say, look, Maaser Sheni, which isn't as high, as Kaddish as Pesach, creates an Isser for an Oinein. Certainly the Korban Pesach, which is Chomer, which is of higher status than Maaser Sheni. Of course, an Oinein may not eat the Korban Pesach. So perhaps just as we learned Pesach from Maaser with respect to an Oinein, perhaps it's a two-way street. Yolef nas nami Maaser mi Pesach linin arelas. Likewise, when it comes to an Arel, we shall say, just as an Arel can't have Korban Pesach, the Pasuk says so, V'chal Arel lo yechal boy. Likewise, Maaser Sheni is off limits to an Arel. Oy Dilma. So that's one side of the coin. So is it a two-way street? And an Arel may not eat Maaser Sheni. Oy Dilma, or perhaps it's only a one-way limud. Chomer, Pesach, which stands higher than Maaser Sheni. Chomer Mikal Yolef can learn from Maaser Sheni. If an Oinen may not partake in Maaser Sheni, which is lighter than Korban Pesach, of course he can't in the Korban Pesach, but Kal Maaser Sheni, which is lighter than Pesach, Kal Mei Chomer Lo Yolef, he can't learn from Pesach with respect to the Arel. Now Tosfos asks the obvious kasha, what's the Hava Amina? Of course, the Chomer can learn from the Kal, but why would you suggest that a Kal can learn from the Chomer? So he says the Gemara's question is whether the limud is a Kal V'chomer, as the Tosfos Yeshanim presented to us, or perhaps it's based on some sort of Gzeira Shava, and we know that we never challenge a Gzeira Shava. So perhaps just as Pesach can learn from Maaser with respect to the halacha of Oinein, likewise Maaser from Pesach with respect to the Arel. So that was the question. Yes or no? Answers of Sheshes. It's a Mishnah Meseches Bikurim. Amar Lahu Tani Sua. We will see from the Mishnah Meseches Bikurim that there is nothing holding back, that an Arel, just as he can't have Teruma, he can't have Maaser. There's no difference between one and the other. The Mishnah Meseches Bikurim is going to list a trial. We're going to discuss Truma, Bikurim, and Maaser Sheni, and we will find things which are common to 2 out of 3. Things that are common to Truma and Bikurim and not found in Maaser Sheni, and likewise, things that are found in Maaser Sheni and Bikurim, not found in Teruma. Here we go. HaTruma v'Bikurim. These 2 items have the following in common. Number 1, Chayav and Alein Misa. One who is Tameh and partakes in Truma, partakes in Bikurim, is an Einish of Misa B'dei Shemayim. V'chomesh, a non-Kohen who eats these things must repay and add a 5th. Of course, these things are unique to Truma and Bikurim, not found by Maaser Sheni, which can be eaten by anybody. V'asurin lezorim, both Truma and Bikurim may not be fed to a non-Kohen. Now, Tosfos asks the obvious kasha. We've just spoken about the fact that a Zor has to pay back a Chaimish. Obviously, he's not meant to access these things. Answers Tosfos in the name of the Aruch. Yeah, perhaps he can't have a full shear, kazais. The chiddush of vasur zarim is coming to include even a chatzi shir, even just a half a kazayis is also off limits to the zar. Okay, ve'nichse koyin. Truma and bikurim are considered the property of the koyin, meaning he could take the truma and use it for bimekadesh and isha, as opposed to a maser sheni. Rashi points out maser sheni is not meant for those purposes. We're following Shitas Rabbi Meir, who holds that maser sheni is considered mammon gavoya, Hashem's property, not meant for mundane uses. What else? Both truma and bikurim can be cancelled out, 100 against 1. So if the truma gets mixed into non-truma, and there are 100 times more of the other material than the truma, it's batal. As opposed to maser sheni, you don't need 100 versus 1. Even bitul b'roiv is enough. Both truma and bikurim need to have washed hands. There's a special takana midrabanan. Unwashed hands can make truma puzzle. You need to wash your hands before handling the truma. This doesn't apply to maser sheni. Erev shemesh, nightfall, sundown. So if one is tummy and he is toivel, if he wants to eat truma and bikurim, you have to wait until sundown. Maser sheni, that's not required. Hari so all these items, all these features, are to be found betruma ubikurim, ma she'enken b'maser, but not by maser sheni. Now, getting back to our question. Can an oral eat maser sheni? Vim isa. If there's a difference between truma and maser sheni with respect to an oral, why didn't the Mishnah put it on the list? We're looking for differences, right? Nisni oral, asr behen, masha'enken b'maser. Mishnah should say, look, an oral cannot have those. Which those? Truma bikurim, but it can have maser sheni. This would seem to indicate that an oral may not eat maser sheni as well. No, it's not a raya. Tana v'shir. Perhaps the Tana gave us a long list of, discrepancies between truma and maser, but omitted some things from the list. Didn't actually complete a full comprehensive list. And maybe this should have been on the list as well, because an oral can have maser sheni. Umay shir, dahi shir. What else did the Tana omit from the list, which would be a true indication that it's not really a complete list? He wouldn't just leave one thing out of the list. I'll tell you what, shir, he left out other things as well. 2 things. The Katani Sefer, because the Mishnah continues and presents things which are common to maser and bikurim are not found by truma, right? That's the other part of the Mishnah. Yesh b'maser b'bikurim. We find the following features in maser and bikurim, masha'enken b'truma, which are unfound in truma. Shamaser of bikurim to unin havas makim. When it comes to maser sheni and bikurim, you need to deliver it to the Beis HaMikdash, as opposed to truma, which can be given to the kohen anywhere. Utu unin vidu, you have to confess at certain points that you actually gave these things. You don't have to do that by truma. V'asar la'oinen. Maser and bikurim cannot be consumed by an oinen. So according to Tanakama, just as maser can't, bikurim as well. Reb Shimon Matir, he says bikurim doesn't have the same halacha as maser sheni with respect to the oinen. Number 2, v'chayavim bebir, another machlokes. Tanakama says both maser and bikurim need to be destroyed come the Erev Pesach of the 3rd and the 7th year, halacha called bir. So just as it applies to maser sheni, it applies to bikurim. Reb Shimon Paiter says bikurim don't have this halacha. Gemara and Amud Beis will discuss the rationale behind the machlokes. Okay, so this is the a list of things which are common to maser bikurim and not found by truma. But we left 2 things out. 2 things omitted from this list. Milu, number 1, asr levar mehen betuma. Let's say the item is tummy. Can you go and use it? If you Chanukah licht, could you go burn it betuma? There's a difference between maser and bikurim, where the answer is yes. The answer is no. And truma, where the answer is yes. Rashi brings a pasuk that a special heter to burn truma tmeya. Here we go. So there's one difference between the 2. And then we have one more. Let's say the item is tummy and you eat it. You're a tar, but the item is tummy. So by maser sheni and bikurim, malchus is applied. Masha'enken b'truma, as opposed to truma, where although it's not necessarily the right thing to do, but the Gemara later will tell us it's not a lav, it's just an assay. It's even an assay. So all these differences, a total of 2. Like a tani, we don't have it mentioned in the Mishnah. Alma tani v'shir. Apparently, although the Mishnah gave us a long list, but some things were omitted, and perhaps the halacha regarding Earl as well. An Earl may not have Truma and Bikurim, but can have Maser Sheni. We have no way of knowing, and therefore this Mishnah is inconclusive. Let's go back to the two machlokes in the Mishnah. Number one, Basurim La'inin. Just as Maser Sheni can't be fed to an Einin, Bikurim as well. But Rabbi Shimon Matir says it's okay for Bikurim to an Einin. Minalahu, where's the Tanakama coming from? A long list discussing all types of holy items. Maser Sheni, and then it says Trumas Yadcha. What is Trumas Yadcha? Something which requires personal involvement and delivery to the Mikdash. V'mamar Trumas Yadcha, that's Elu Bikurim. And here the pasuk sort of binds them all together. V'iskash Bikurim l'Maser, and the pasuk mentions Bikurim in the same breath as Maser to tell us Ma Maser Asr l'Oinen, just as an Oinen cannot partake in Maser. Af Bikurim Asr l'Oinen, likewise Bikurim cannot be fed to an Oinen. That's the Tanakama. But Rabbi Shimon, he disagrees. He says, look, Truma Karinu Rachmana, the Torah itself relates to Bikurim with the words Truma Siyotcha. What does that tell you about Bikurim? That primarily it identifies with Truma, although it has other halachas, but it identifies primarily as a form of, it's almost like a form of Truma, and therefore it's meant to be equated by and large to Truma, and we say Ma Truma Muteres L'Oinen, just as an onion may take Truma, may eat Truma, Ap Bikurim Mutel L'Oinen, likewise an onion may have Bikurim. The second item where there is machlekes is the beer discussion. Chayavin beer. According to Tanakama, just as Maser Sheni needs to do beer, get rid of it in its right time, likewise Bikurim. Rabbi Shimon Poiter says that's unique to Maser Sheni and does not apply to Bikurim. And again, it's based on the same Shaila I've just mentioned. Mar Makish Tanakama connects Bikurim to Maser Sheni, and beer applies to Bikurim just as to Maser Sheni. Mar Le Makish, whereas Rabbi Shimon says, you know what, Bikurim is primarily a form of Truma, and therefore we don't necessarily equate it to Maser Sheni in this regard as well. Now, we mentioned that the Mishnah left out two items, two things which are common to Maser and Bikurim and not found in Truma. Number one, can you burn, can you consume, not by way of eating, but burning and illumination and fuel perhaps, can you use the Bikurim and Maser Sheni item as fuel when it's Tameh? The answer is no, but Truma Tmeya can be used in that manner, so that's one difference. Number two, if one actually eats a Tameh item, when it comes to Bikurim and Maser Sheni, there's a lav transgressed, whereas when it comes to Truma, he's only violating a mitzvah aseh. How do we know these? Says the Gemara, Va'oichlan betumas atzman loik minolan. How do we know that it is so? That if one eats Maser Sheni and Bikurim while they are Tameh, he's penalized with Malchus, the Sanya. Reb Shimon Omer. The pasuk says, "Lo yibi'arti mimenu b'tameh." You should know that I did not burn. I did not use the Maser Sheni as fuel, as material in my lamp, to burn for illumination. I didn't use it when there was tum'ah involved. Now, right off the bat, the pasuk seems to be clear and indicative of the fact that you can't, you certainly can't eat it when it's tummy. Why? Because why does the pasuk even allude to the tummy factor? In fact, they didn't have to mention. I wasn't mevar when it was tar. It seems to indicate that there would be a reason for him to do it by tummy, because you can't eat it when it's tummy. Right? He didn't have to say lo yibi'ar to menu when it was tar, because why would he burn it if you can eat it? You're not meant to burn it if you can eat it, right? All these items, truma, maser, is meant to be consumed properly. Eating, drinking, smearing, you're not meant to burn something which you can eat, right? That's just a given. The fact that he's alluding to a possibility of burning something, and he mentions tameh, that tells us something about the fact that when it was tameh, he had no other use for it. And perhaps that would tempt him. He wouldn't be tempted to use something tar, because he's meant to eat it, but something tameh which you cannot eat, right? Something you can't eat, perhaps I would burn it, betuma. I would use it in this manner. That's why he has to confess. He has to say, look, Hashem, no, I didn't do this. I didn't use it in this manner. when there was a tummy factor involved. Who was tummy? Well, either way, ben shani tummy, whether I was tummy and I couldn't consume it, vu tar when it was tar. Ben shani tar, whether I was tar, vu tummy and the item was tummy. Either way, we had a problem interacting, right? So perhaps I would be tempted to burn it. No, I didn't do it. So it's pretty clear from here that it's usher to actually eat it when it's tummy. That's why he would have burnt it. No, I didn't burn it either. How do you know that it is so, that when a person is tummy, he shouldn't eat it? Any idea? What do you mean, any idea? Question mark. What do you mean? You don't know? Tumas haguf be'ed yuksiv be. There's a pasuk that when a person is tummy, he may not eat maaser sheni. Which pasuk? Nefesh asher tiga boy v'tama da'orev v'lo yochel min ha'kodshim. Ki im rachatz b'sari b'mayim. When a person becomes tummy, he touches tumah, he cannot have kodshim. And Rashi says, the Gemara later will interpret this to mean maaser sheni. You have to wait until you're tar. There's a lav. What do you mean? What do you mean looking for a source? Here it is. He meant to ask as follows. Tumas atzmai minayin. What about if the maaser sheni is tummy? I cannot eat it. How do I know that? Where's the lav? Talmud Loimer, here it is. You shouldn't eat in your she'arim, in your cities, in your places, your maaser. And further down it says, you can have it in your cities. And the pasuk there is speaking about psulei hamikdashim. You have a carbon which was got a mum, and then it was sort of redeemed, and it becomes something which is accessible to anybody. It loses its kedusha. And the pasuk tells you can eat it tamei v'atar, eat it like a regular animal, no inhibitions. And specifically, it's allowing you to have that item betuma. The psula mikdashim material can be eaten even when it's tummy, because it's no longer a carbon. The pasuk means afilu tummy v'tar. You have a fellow who's tummy, a fellow who's tar. They can have their meal together with psuli hamikdashin meat. Same table, the same bowl. No concern, because that item can be consumed betuma. That's over there. Now the pasuk by Maser Sheni, which says Lo yisucha alechal bisharecha. The term bisharecha is a reference to the other pasuk. Look, I allow you to have it betuma because it's there, but not over here. Lo yisucha alechal bisharecha. You can't have it in that same format, in the same bisharecha format, i.e., betuma. You can't do that if it's Maser Sheni. Yeah, over there by Psula Mikdashim, which is not really Kaddish anymore, go ahead, be my guest, eat it, b'sharech, eat it with the tamei, in any which way you choose. But over here, Maser Sheni can't be eaten in that form. When it's tamei, you can't eat it. So indeed, this is the lav. That once the Maser becomes tamei, you can't have it. And it's a lav. So you have a lav for a person who's tummy, and a lav if the item is tummy, even if the person is tar, you can't have it as well. And this gets applied to bikurim as well, as opposed to truma, masha'enkim b'truma. Both these concerns don't apply to truma. If the truma becomes tummy, you can burn it. The kohen can put it into his lamp, light up his house, can throw it under his oven, use it as fuel. Masha'enkim b'truma. Minolan. Amar Avomar Rabbi Yechanan. How do we know this? The Amakra. Lo yibi'ati menu b'tamei. This fellow was expressing, he's presenting, look, I was very careful with the Maser Sheni. I was never mevar, means used it as fuel, as lighting material. Even when it was tummy and I couldn't have it. There's a diuk. Mimenu is extra. To tell you that this restriction applies specifically to Maser Sheni and not to Truma. Truma, which is tummy, can be used in that manner. Mimenu yet a maver. Maser Sheni, which is tummy, cannot be used in this manner. Avalata maver shemashal truma shenitma. But you can do that with truma oil, which becomes tummy. Clearly, a kohen can take truma oil, which is tummy, and put it into his lap. I'll never forget when we went to Yisrael, we rented an apartment, and it was Motzei Shabbos. And we get this frantic phone call from the landlord. They had left town for a couple of weeks, and we took over their apartment. And they came calling us, Motzei Shabbos. They says, we had left you a note that you can use anything in the apartment, but did you, by any chance, use the unmarked containers of oil in the cupboards? So we said to them, actually not. They said, oh, shoo, because they were gripped by shock over Shabbos. That oil in those glass containers was truma oil. Truma oil, believe it or not. It was truma oil. They're kehanim, and they would get, an allotment of truma oil from the local bezdin on a regular basis. Nothing else you can do with truma oil, which is tamei. Nowadays, everything is tamei. And they would use it to light their Shabbos candles. And they were concerned that we would access that oil, which we're not allowed to. We're non-kehanim, and use it for our Shabbos licht. So they came calling, did you use that oil? We said, no, Baruch Hashem. But a kohen, he's certainly allowed to enjoy Truma Tmeya. Says the Gemara. Okay, it's based on the Diyuk Mimena, right? Only Maser can't be used in this manner, but other things, yes. And we assumed it's allowing Truma. It's excluding Truma from this halach. How do you know? How do you know Truma? The pasuk doesn't say Truma. If Ema perhaps will say, Mimenu, Iyatamaver. You can't do this with Maser, Aval Atamaver Shemen Shel Kodesh in it. You can do it with something which belongs to the Beis HaMikdash. That type of oil that became tamei, oil that was designated for a mincha. Maybe that can be used when it's tamei, but not truma oil. How do you know? Responds the Gemara, Lav kal v'chaymer. You can't really suggest that. It's a kal v'chaymer. Uma maser kal omra Torah. Even maser, which is lighter in kedusha than hegdish, right, and a carbon. Omra Torah. What does the Torah tell us about it? You can't use it betuma. Kodesh chomer lekoshkan. Of course, the mincha material can't be used in this manner. If that's the case, once you have this kal v'chomer, truma nami kal v'chomer. The same thing can apply to truma. If maser can't be used, truma certainly can't be used in this manner. Well, haksiv mimenu. You have mimenu to exclude truma. Uma rois. Who's to say we exclude truma as opposed to kachim? Maybe the other way around. Maybe truma should be included in the restriction and kachim excluded. Well, mistavra kodesh lemimatina. It is certainly logical to say that kodesh will not be excluded. Kodesh will be included in the isser of being maver betuma, because we find so many special features found in kachim that are not found in truma. So we find all these advantages in kachim over truma. Therefore, it is probable to say that the heter applies to truma, not to kachim. Shekain pan ka'achas. Okay, this is a Rashi Tevis for 6 special features, 6 special chumros, elements that are found in kachim as opposed to truma. Number 1 is pigul, right? The concept of pigul applies only to a carbon, noiser, left over after the time. Carbon. A carbon is called carbon, but not truma is not called carbon. Me'ila, one partakes in a carbon material, he's over me'ila, all kinds of penalties, doesn't apply to truma. V'karis, if a person eats a carbon when he's tamei, there's karis involved. V'asr l'oinein, and an oinein may not consume a carbon. These things are unique to carbon and are not found by truma. Adara, if anything, we find that truma also has advantages. Loy matina, we can't exclude them from the isur ken machpaz. We have a total of 4 special features that are found in truma as opposed to a carbon. Misa. Only one who eats truma has misa b'dei shemaim. That's not found by karbanos. Now Tosfos asks, what do you mean? A minute ago you said that the karas penalty found by a carbon is more severe. Now you're saying misa by the truma is more severe than the karas of the carbon. How does that work? So Tosfos says, we're not speaking about eating when you are tamei. When the Gemara says that truma has the misa factor, it means that a zar who is tar, but the problem is not a kohen. right? He's not a card-carrying kohen, so he shouldn't have the truma, and there is misa on account of that violation. That is unique to truma, not found by karbanis. It says we find many karbanis, shlamim, etc., that are mutar l'zarim. So that's what the Gemara means to say. Truma has the unique misa factor that applied to a zar who has truma. V'chaimish, if one eats truma b'shoigeg, a non-kohen, he has to pay back an extra fifth. Vein lo pidyon, truma can never be redeemed for anything. V'asur l'zarim, as we said, truma can never be given to a non-kohen, and these things are not found by kachim. 4 advantages. In truma over kachim, perhaps truma stands higher. Well, how could you compare? Kachim has 6 elements that are not found in truma. Of course, it has that numerical advantage, and therefore we prefer to apply the isser to kachim as opposed to truma. Another answer would be karas adifa. The karas penalty applied to kachim stands way higher. It's an overriding factor and an element of much greater value than anything else, and therefore we prefer including kachim in the isser as opposed to truma. So if you have truma tmeya, go ahead and burn it. The next item on the list, the next difference between maser bikurim pair that is not found by truma, not mentioned in the Mishnah, is oichel metumas atzman loike. If bikurim and maser are tama, you cannot have it, you cannot eat it, and there is a malchus as a result. Mashenkin betruma, we don't have that same consequence. Milko de loiloki, there is no malchus, but it's aser ha'isura ika. If one actually eats truma, which is tama minalan, where's the isra? Makro b'sharecha techlenu. That's the pasuk we mentioned earlier. You can have something which is tummy. Only this, the psula mikdashim, etc., but not something else, not truma. So this is sort of extracted from the assay. Eat this, but not that. V'lav haba mechal assay, a lav which is extracted from a positive statement, such as the isser for truma, really is valued as an assay. It doesn't have a din of a lav; it's considered an assay. So that's all it is. You are violating an assay, which is obviously not as severe as the law, which is applicable to truma, to bikurim or maser sheni, which are eaten when the item is tummy. Amar of Ashi, Miresha nami shamas minod tana b'shir. You know what? We were trying to bring a raya from this Mishnah. We had a shaila regarding an oral eating maser sheni. We took a look at the Mishnah bikurim. We don't find that the Mishnah uses the oral factor as a as a dividing point between truma and bikurim as opposed to maser sheni, which would seem to indicate that maser sheni is also to an oral, right? Then the Gemara says, you know what? Maybe the Mishnah omitted it from the list. Maybe that is a difference between the two categories, but it's simply not on the list, as we find that in the second part of the Mishnah we left out a couple of items. Says Rav Ashi, you know what? In the Reisha as well, we see some omissions. Take a look at the first part of the Mishnah. It's also clear that there's something left out of the list. And therefore we have no more raya from the Mishnah, right? The Tana V'Shir, we see that Tana had a list but left something out. What did he leave out? Midilek Tani. When comparing the Truma Bikurim, Truma Bikurim couple to Maser Sheni, the Mishnah could have said, V'noyegim b'shar shnei shavua, V'einlam pidyon. We find 2 more things that are unique to Truma and Bikurim as opposed to Maser Sheni. You know what? Those 2 are applicable all throughout the 6 years of Shemitah. First year, second. There's no break from Truma and Bikurim. It's a constant chiyuv. As opposed to Maser Sheni, which is only applicable on the 3rd and the 6th year of the Shemitah cycle. Number 2, Truma and Bikurim don't have pidyon. You can't be paid to those things. It is as is. Masha'enkein by Maser, where you can do pidyon and maser. It's a pasuk. If you're living too far from Yerushalayim, you're going to transfer the kedusha onto money. So those are 2 things that are unique to bikurim and truma, not by maser. The fact that the Mishnah left it out indicates that it's not a full comprehensive list. Shema Mina, indeed, that proves the point, and therefore we no longer have a raya as per our shaila. So again, let's just summarize the daf. We started with a shaila presented to Rav Sheshes. We know that an oral cannot have truma. What about maser sheni? Do we learn from Pesach or not? He says, let's take a look at the Mishnah Bikurim, which doesn't make any mention of Maser Sheni and Bikurim. It doesn't make any mention of the oral being Asr in Truma and Bikurim and being Mutter Maser Sheni, which seems to indicate that it's Asr all around, regarding Truma, Kurb, and Maser Sheni as well. But then the Gemara says, it's not a raya because perhaps it was just left off the list, as we find out in the Seifa. When comparing the other items, we certainly left two things out of the list, which the Gemara elaborated on and actually gave us all the sources for the halachas. And since the Mishnah certainly left things out, and as the Gemara concluded, we actually find items left out in the Reisha as well. So once the Mishnah is not presenting a comprehensive list, it's not really going to prove anything as far as a conclusive conclusion regarding our Shaila, and we leave it up in the air. All the best to you and Hatzlacha Rabbah.